All right, so we're going to kick off on the dashboard of CreditorWatch Collect, and I'm just going to point out a few things. So here we can see that the data was last imported an hour ago. So we have automated integrations with some of the accounting software. We can also receive data via CSV import or API. So there's a few ways to get your receivables in there. The dashboard will show you how your aging is performing, a good snapshot, your debtor days trend, your overdue ratio. So you're kind of getting a sense of how you're progressing with your collections. Down the right is the activity feed. And this is where you can see everything that's going on in the app. So you've got reminders that are being sent out via email, via SMS. You've got replies coming back in from customers. You've got notes being added by your team. Your credit controllers. You can capture disputes, payment dates. Everything happens and is captured in this one place, which is it means you're not having to switch between a spreadsheet and your accounting software and your Outlook just to get up to speed. You've got a full account history, and I'll show you a bit more detail how that works in a moment. The core of the platform, though, is the workflows, and these are really powerful in terms of creating your end-to-end process. So I'll show you how these work. So I'll focus on these first four. So what we're doing here is creating a follow-up process from your first friendly reminders, then escalating through to stop credit or suspension, whatever that first escalation point is. Then, if needed, moving them on to final notices, demand letters, and then finally to third-party collections. So you can do it all. You can run the entire process from within CreditorWatch Collect. What you can also do is create some other processes. If you've got really large customers and you want to give them a higher touch process, maybe it's more phone calls, no SMS reminders, so you can put them through that particular workflow. You can also create other workflows to focus on your high risk accounts. So it's very, very flexible. It allows you to create a very structured, standardized process for your business. I'll dive into this first workflow so you can see how they're made up. You can send out reminders prior to the due date. So that's really a great way to be proactive. You can send a summary of the account, all of the invoices that make up that total. So it's really easy for your customer to make sure they've got everything ready to pay by the due date. Then your past due date reminders. So these will be coming from your email address. They'll have your logo, your company name. The goal here is, if you think about what you're currently doing manually from your own email, you can put that into CreditorWatch Collect and automate it or bulk send it. It just gives you that scale and ease of use. And I'll show you what these reminders look like. So these things are really important. It needs to come from you, a name that they know. And here you can see we're sending a summary of the accounts. We're not sending reminders per invoice. It shows them exactly what's overdue and how much they need to pay. And when people move to this, I just get feedback over and over again that people get much more paid because they're reminding for the total balance. It's the same with the SMS reminders. You've got the total that's overdue. It's really clear what customers should be paying. Then what's very powerful from here is having the pay now button, and that takes customers through to the payment portal. They can choose what they want to pay or a specific amount, hit pay now, enter their credit card, and then the money lands in the bank. So it really streamlines the reminder to payment process. Now your workflows are very flexible. You can add a mix of emails, phone calls, and SMS reminders. Now the phone calls don't happen automatically. I'll show you, they get added to a queue, and I'll show you how that works shortly. If an account is not paid after receiving these first reminders, then that's where you've got your first escalation point. You can notify your credit controller, your credit manager. It allows everybody to stay in the loop about where things are at in the collections process. So that's workflows. There's more I could show you, but that's really the essence of creating that end-to-end process all the way through to third-party collections. You never drop the ball. It's very efficient and robust. Once your workflows are set up, you can see what the system is doing via the schedule. From here, you can pause and resume reminders. You can jump in and update that if you need to. There might be some manually triggered reminders for putting customers on stop credit, and you can see that you have some calls due as well. Now, when it comes to making the phone calls, this has been a game changer for so many businesses. So you've got a queue here, so you know on any given day who you should be calling. And it could be the first call that you've made for them. It could be a callback related to a promised payment date. I'll click into the history so you can see what it looks like. So this is the power of having everything in one place. You've got the reminders that have been sent out. You've got replies coming back from the customer. You've got the notes from the credit controller based on a conversation that they've had with the customer. Here they've logged an expected payment date, and then another email reply from the customer. So when you're on the phone, you've got everything in front of you to have a really good call and hold your customers accountable to their past promises. And then when it comes to logging the outcome of the call, it's very, very quick with these quick response tags. You can set your callbacks, be reminded to call back in a few days. It's the same with expected payment dates. You can log that in the system. You'll be prompted to follow up if they miss the payment. So it's really a revolution in terms of getting through more calls, having all the information at your fingertips when you're on a call. It just improves your confidence and your success rate when it comes to getting these calls done. The last area we'll look at today is the accounts view. So this really does replace the spreadsheet. It's your reporting, but it's also your working area where you can prioritize who you're going to follow up. You can see here that we're bringing through the credit rating from CreditorWatch. So this allows you to not only prioritize accounts by their aging, but you can also factor in their risk score. So that means you can really coach your team or your credit controller to focus on the high risk accounts as a priority. You can even put them into a priority workflow, as you saw before. So, while you can standardize the process, you can also jump in and prioritize certain accounts that you want to jump on the phone much quicker and get your cash. So that's really all I wanted to show you today on the platform. So hopefully that's given you a summary, but do book yourselves a personalized demo. We can talk about how it can solve your specific challenges.